A small dream. He was just a man, quiet, poor, and forgotten by the world. He lived in a small, dark room with one chair, one blanket, and one big dream. He had no money. No car. No good job. He couldn't even speak English. But he had something many people forget: hope. A small light inside him said, "There is more to life." Every morning, he woke up before the sun. He looked at the sky and whispered, "One day, things will change." He worked hard lifting boxes, cleaning streets, doing jobs no one else wanted. The work hurt his back. The cold hurt his hands. But he never let his dream die. Every time someone spoke English, his ears listened. Every time he saw a word he didn't know, his heart asked, "What does that mean?" He didn't laugh much. He didn't talk much. But deep inside, he was building something powerful, a new life. He didn't want to be rich. He didn't want to be famous. He only wanted a better future. A job where people respected him, a home where he felt warm, and the power to speak with the world. That dream started with one tiny idea: I will learn English. It was not easy. It was not fast. But it was real. That one decision, to learn 5 minutes a day, started a journey that would change his world forever. This story is not just his. It could be yours. If you ever felt small, lost, or afraid, keep watching. Because this story will show you, even the smallest dream can grow into something beautiful. If he can do it, so can you. Watch until the end, your next step might begin right now. Chapter 1: Life was hard. Life was not easy for him. He lived in a small, cold room, no bigger than a closet. The walls were gray and cracked. There was no bed, just a thin blanket on the floor. His pillow was an old rolled-up shirt. One light bulb hung from the ceiling. It flickered sometimes, like it was tired too. There was no sound in the room. Only silence and the soft wind outside the window. It was a lonely place. But it was all he had. He worked long hours doing jobs most people never think about. Early in the morning, before the sun rose, he walked to the city with heavy boots and a heavier heart. He cleaned the streets. He lifted trash bags. He pushed carts. His hands were always dirty, and his back always ached. He was strong, but the work made him older every day. People walked past him without a second look. To them, he was invisible. Each day felt the same. He worked. He walked. He ate bread and water. Then he came home, tired, cold, and silent. There was no TV. No internet. No one waiting for him. Just the quiet room and the soft hum of the city outside. Some nights, he looked up at the ceiling and asked, "Is this all there is?" But deep inside, something whispered, "Not forever." He did not complain. He did not cry. But he felt the pain. Pain of feeling small. Pain of being alone in a big, fast world. Every night, he closed his eyes with one small wish in his heart: let tomorrow be better. That tiny hope, that quiet dream, was his only light in the dark. He didn't know how to make his life better. But he knew he had to try. Sometimes, when he walked home from work, he passed a school. Through the window, he saw people laughing, talking, learning. They spoke in English, a language he couldn't understand. But he didn't feel angry. He felt curious. That language felt like a key. A key to something new. Maybe, just maybe, that was his way out. Not money. Not luck. But learning. He had no guide. No teacher. No plan. Just a dream, small and quiet, but strong. And from that small dream, everything was about to change. Chapter 2, The First English Word. It was a normal day, just like many others. He had finished his morning shift sweeping streets, lifting trash bins, and pushing heavy carts down busy roads. His body felt tired, but his eyes were always open to the world. On this day, something small happened. Something simple. But for him, it changed everything. As he walked past a small cafe, he heard a sound. A voice. Light, friendly, and full of warmth. A young woman at a table looked up and said, "Hello." It wasn't meant for him. She was greeting someone else. But the word floated in the air and landed in his heart. Hello. 2 simple syllables. But to him, they sounded like music. He didn't speak English. Not even a little. But that word stayed with him all day. On the train ride home, he whispered it to himself. Hello, hello. The word felt new in his mouth, soft, kind, easy. It made him smile. For the first time in weeks, he didn't feel invisible. He felt curious. Inspired. Alive. That night, when he got home, he didn't fall on the floor to sleep like usual. Instead, he took a pen, tore a piece of cardboard from an old box, and wrote one word, hello. He stared at it. He traced the letters with his finger. Then he whispered it. Not once. Not twice. But 20 times. Each time a little louder. A little stronger. A little more real. That night, he didn't just say a word. He opened a door. It was a small step, a tiny moment. But he knew this was the beginning. If he could learn one word, he could learn 2. If he could speak one sentence, he could speak more. His world, once silent and cold, had just said something back. The next day, he passed the cafe again. He looked at the people talking and laughing. He didn't understand them yet, but he wasn't afraid. He had a word now. A tool. A key. It wasn't much, but it was enough to take the next step. And step by step, word by word, he would climb out of the silence he had lived in for so long. That one word gave him hope. It gave him direction. Every time he said it, he felt something grow inside him. Confidence. Curiosity. Courage. That's the power of a beginning. That's the power of the first word. Chapter 3, Learning in the Dark. He didn't have much. Not books. Not teachers. Not even a real classroom. The world told him, you need school to learn. But school was far, and money was short. He worked from morning to night, sweeping, lifting, walking, just to survive. There was no time to sit and study, no desk, no lessons. But he had something else. He had an old phone, cracked at the corner, slow to load, but still alive. And in that phone, there was a new world, English. Each night, when his body was tired and the city was quiet, he took out that little phone. He sat in the dark, sometimes in a small alley, sometimes under a broken streetlight. With one earbud and a shaky internet signal, he pressed play. A voice spoke. It was fast, it was foreign, it was strange. He didn't understand the words. But he didn't stop. He listened while walking to work. He listened during lunch breaks. He listened while sweeping streets. The sounds became part of his life. Soft background noise that slowly started to mean something. In the beginning, it was like rain on a window. You could hear it, but not touch it. But day by day, his ears changed. His brain changed. Words he once didn't know started to repeat. How are you? What is this? I am happy. Simple phrases, but powerful ones. They felt like seeds in the dark, planted with hope, watered with effort. He wrote words on his hand when he had no paper. He paused videos, replayed the same sentence 5 times, 10 times. Even when he couldn't understand, he kept listening. He didn't give up. In the silence of the night, he taught himself not with a book, not with a teacher, but with patience. His friends didn't understand. They said, "Why learn English? You don't need it." But he knew something they didn't. English was not just a language. It was a bridge. A path. A future. He didn't have a school. But he had purpose. And that was enough to keep going. Many nights were cold. Some nights were lonely. But his phone glowed like a tiny star in the dark. That light, small as it was, helped him see a new future even when the world around him was still asleep. Chapter 4: His Little Notebook. It was small, cheap, and plain. The cover was blue. The pages were thin. But for him, this little notebook became the most important thing he owned. He bought it from a street vendor, using the few coins left in his pocket. It wasn't for drawing or writing poems. It was for one mission: learning English. From the moment he held it, it wasn't just paper anymore, it was his silent teacher. Every time he heard a new English word, he wrote it down. On the bus, standing shoulder to shoulder with strangers, he'd quickly pull it from his back pocket and scribble a word, apple. At lunch, while sitting on a broken bench with a sandwich in one hand, he'd write, hungry. And late at night, after a long day of work, with sore feet and tired eyes, he'd sit on his bed, sometimes just a blanket on the floor, and whisper each word out loud. One by one. Again and again. That notebook went everywhere with him. Like a best friend, like a secret weapon. It was worn and bent, the cover torn at the corner, but inside it was gold, his English gold. He didn't just write words. He wrote meanings, small sentences, little notes like "say this to the bus driver" or "ask this in the shop." He drew pictures next to words he couldn't understand. He made the language his own, slow, personal, real. When people laughed at his accent, the notebook reminded him to keep going. When he forgot a word, the notebook brought it back. It was always there, in his pocket, in his bag, under his pillow. On bad days, it gave him purpose. On good days, it showed him progress. Sometimes, he would flip to the first page and see how far he'd come. From hello to full sentences. From nothing to something. Other people had teachers, apps, and classes. He had this notebook and a will that would not break. He knew he couldn't learn everything in one day. But word by word, page by page, he was building a new life. And this notebook was the quiet proof that he was not giving up. Chapter 5: You Can't Do It. Every journey has noise. Not just the noise of traffic or city sounds, but the louder noise of doubt. You can't do it. That's what he heard, almost every day. It came from neighbors, from co-workers, even from family. You're too old to learn a language, they said. You're too poor to change your life. It's too late for you. The words came like cold rain, again and again. But deep inside, there was one tiny voice. It didn't shout. It whispered, try. He didn't argue with those who doubted him. He didn't have time. He used their words like fuel. Each laugh made him more focused. Each doubt made him more determined. He remembered the first time he said a full English sentence. It was slow. Broken. But real. And after he said it, someone said again, that's not real English." He smiled. Because even bad English was still English. It was a step forward. And steps, small ones, build bridges. Some nights he sat alone in his room, holding his notebook, thinking about quitting. Not because he believed the doubters, but because the journey was so long. So hard. But then, he'd remember the voice inside, the one that started all of this. The one that said, "Try." He didn't have perfect grammar. He didn't sound like an American or a British person. But he was speaking. Reading. Learning. Changing. He started to notice something. Every time he made progress, the negative voices got quieter. Some of them stopped talking. Others started asking, "How did you learn that?" or "Can you help me too?" The same people who laughed now wanted to understand. But he didn't speak to impress anyone. He was learning for himself. To open doors. To walk a new path. To build a new future. Not just in English, but in life. Sometimes, what people say is more about them than about you. They speak from fear. From their own limits. But he decided he wouldn't carry their limits. He had his own dream, and it was already heavy enough. Every time someone said, "You can't," he turned it into a question, "Why not?" And every time he tried again, that small inner voice grew louder. Stronger. Try. It had become his truth. Chapter 6, One English Sentence. Learning a language is not about speaking perfectly on day one. For him, it was about one moment, one sentence. Weeks passed with quiet practice. Days blurred together with repeated words whispered under his breath. He often felt the weight of silence, afraid that his voice might fail. But inside, he dreamed of speaking just one clear sentence. It seemed small to others, but to him, it was a mountain waiting to be climbed. Then, one ordinary day, in a small shop filled with light and warmth, he found his courage. The words came slow, careful, almost like a child's first steps. "How much is this?" he asked. The shopkeeper smiled, not with judgment, but with kindness and encouragement. "Good job," came the reply. That simple praise was like a thunderbolt of power. It wasn't just about the sentence. It was about being understood. About breaking the wall of silence. From that moment, everything changed. The sentence was not perfect. His accent was thick, and the grammar shaky, but it was real. It was his voice. That single sentence opened the door to conversations, to friendships, and to confidence. He began to see that learning English wasn't about perfection, it was about connection. Every word he spoke became a brick in the bridge to his new life. Viewers, imagine how it feels to hold your breath, to finally say something you've practiced 100 times, and to hear kindness in return. This is the power of courage, patience, and small steps. If you keep watching, you'll see how that one sentence leads to many more, and how every tiny victory shapes a future full of hope and possibility. Chapter 7, A New Friend. Sometimes, the biggest changes come from the smallest meetings. He never expected that a stranger could open a door to a whole new world. One day, while walking through a busy park filled with sounds and smells he barely understood, he met a traveler. This traveler was different, they didn't share a language, but they both spoke a little English. It was not perfect, far from it. Words stumbled out, sometimes mixed up, but laughter was clear. They smiled, shared stories with simple sentences and gestures, and in those moments, English became more than just words. It became a bridge between two worlds. This new friendship gave him something priceless: confidence and connection. For the first time, English was not just a subject to study, but a tool to create real human bonds. They talked about dreams, places they wanted to visit, and things that made them happy or sad. Even with limited vocabulary, their conversation was full of meaning. That meeting changed how he saw English. It was alive, moving, and shared. It wasn't just about learning, it was about feeling included in the world around him. Viewers, imagine how it feels to find someone who understands you, even when your words are simple. That feeling of acceptance, of friendship, lights a fire inside. This chapter shows that English is not just for books or exams, it's for making friends, for breaking loneliness, and for opening doors you didn't even know existed. Stay with us until the end, because this is only the beginning of his incredible journey of growth and connection. Chapter 8: A Simple Goal. Sometimes, the hardest part of learning is starting. He knew this all too well. After meeting his new friend and feeling the power of connection through English, he wanted more. But life was busy and tiring. So, instead of overwhelming himself with impossible targets, he set one simple goal: 5 minutes a day. No excuses. It was small, but it was powerful. Just 5 minutes of listening, speaking, reading, or writing every day. That was it. No pressure. No fear of failure. Just a promise to himself. At first, 5 minutes felt like almost nothing. But those minutes added up. Day by day, week by week, little by little, his English grew stronger. The words he learned stuck in his mind longer. His confidence grew as well, and soon, he wasn't just practicing, he was communicating. The simple goal gave him control. Instead of being overwhelmed by the big picture, he focused on small steps, and each small step moved him forward. That little decision to try just 5 minutes daily changed everything. This chapter is a reminder that success doesn't come from giant leaps but from steady, consistent effort. Viewers, no matter where you start, what your fears are, or how busy life gets, 5 minutes is enough to begin. Watch until the end because this story proves that big changes start with small choices. And if he can do it, so can you. Chapter 9: One Job Interview. After months of steady learning, that simple goal of 5 minutes a day gave him more than just confidence, it gave him hope. One day, an opportunity appeared. A better job was open. A job with better pay, better hours, and a chance to change his life for good. But there was one big question during the interview: do you speak English? His heart pounded. He wasn't perfect. His accent was strong, and he sometimes hesitated to find the right words. Still, with quiet courage, he answered honestly, a little. To his surprise, the interviewer smiled and said, "That's enough. We'll give you a chance." That moment was a turning point. That one job interview, where he spoke just a little English, changed everything. He started working with new people, practicing his English every day on the job, and feeling valued for his skills and effort. The language he once feared became a tool for opportunity. He realized it wasn't about being perfect. It was about trying, showing up, and growing. This chapter teaches us that progress matters more than perfection, and sometimes, the courage to say "I can try" opens doors no one expected. If you watch until the end of this video, you'll see how small steps and courage combine to create life-changing moments. His story reminds you that it's okay to start small and imperfect because the future belongs to those who keep moving forward. Chapter 10: A Thank You. Years passed. The young man who once whispered hello with hesitation now spoke fluently, worked confidently, and lived with a new sense of pride. One day, during a conversation with a curious listener, someone asked him a simple but powerful question: how did you do it? How did you learn English and change your life? He smiled gently, remembering every hard moment and every small step he took. He answered simply, 5 minutes. Every day. One small dream. That's all. This answer carried so much meaning. It wasn't just about learning English or getting a better job. It was about believing in the power of small, consistent effort. It was about hope, persistence, and faith in oneself. That little daily practice, the 5 minutes of courage, the moments spent writing, listening, and speaking added up to something huge. It taught him not only a language but how to believe in his dreams, even when the path seemed impossible. This chapter reminds us that success is not a sudden magic trick. It is the sum of small, steady steps that build over time. It shows that anyone, no matter where they start, can transform their life by staying consistent and never giving up on their dreams. If you watch until the end of this video, you will see how belief in small actions can unlock your own story of change. This story is not just his, it can be yours too. Your story starts now. As this story comes to a close, remember, you don't need perfect English. You don't need to speak fast or know every word before you begin. What you truly need is to take that first step, just one word, one day, one dream. The path to learning and growth starts with a small action, and that action is within your reach right now. This is your story. Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. Many people wait for the perfect moment, the perfect chance, or perfect skills. But the truth is, progress happens when you begin imperfectly and keep moving forward. Every small word you learn, every sentence you try, every conversation you start, these are the building blocks of your new life. Each step creates confidence, opens doors, and brings you closer to your goals. The journey may seem long, but the greatest journeys begin with a single step. This video has shared one man's journey, from silence and struggle to confidence and success. It shows that language is not just words, it's a key to connection, opportunity, and hope. Your story is just beginning. If you watch until the very end, you will discover how small daily efforts can change your life, just like his did. Let this be your moment to start, and to believe that your dream is possible. You don't have to be perfect. You only need to start. The world is waiting to hear your story.